Now let's get out there and fuck up another Raiju cast because your muscle memory hasn't been corrected yet.
What? Still here? Hand it over, that thing, your Dark Knight guide.
For my lady's rate night.
But Chair, the job don't have Dot. It can't be Dark Soul.
Oh. Greetings, travelers. Are you happy? Enjoying yourself? Things looking up in life? Of course they aren't. Why else would you be here? My Ghostwriter is a Dark Knight player, and she'll tell you that this job isn't for masochists, but she did play Scholar last expansion. So if you're feeling down and out that you've lost the spark that other jobs used to give you, go ahead and join the Suffering Squad. The only thing that's consistent about playing this job is that it's going to make you miserable, which is exactly what I want to feel all the time. Gotta get all that positive energy out of my system. Dark Knight's coolest and most defining characteristic is its capstone ability. From Stormblood, aptly called the Stormblood Knight. The Blackest Knight is your bread and butter mitigation tool. For a mere 3000 MP, you can target any player, self included, and give them a shield for 25% of their maximum HP for 7 seconds. And if that shield is broken, you get to use a damage skill that normally costs 3000 MP for free. In theory, this means you're rewarded for using the Blackest Knight correctly. In reality, if you fuck up TBN, you obliterate 460 potency.
Ah, is this the blood? The blood of the Dark Knight?
You know, I've said some rational things about TBN before, but no longer. I think we need to elevate everyone's suffering levels. How about if we fuck up a TBN, we lose an additional 3000 NP on top of the skill cost? That's still not enough, though. How about it subtracts 25% of our HP for fucking it up? Even better, why doesn't it just fucking kill you? Fuck it, just have the game uninstall for fucking it up, goddammit. Fuck you. Anyways, in case someone takes me too seriously, messing up TBN is like getting a bad grade on one exam for the semester. It's not going to be the end of the world, even though it still sucks ass and makes you feel like a piece of shit. If you don't like getting punished, don't play the job. What does this mean for your mitigation plan before you hit level 70? Also, since TBN is a shield, this means that stacking an additional percentage mitigation with the cooldown gives you a return on your mitigation investment, as opposed to the diminishing returns that you get for stacking the other investments together. I love stocks, this is not financial advice. And the exact conditions for breaking TBN depend on gear, character level, the exact encounter, how the server feels that day, and last but not least, not crit chance. It's okay though, Dark Knight makes up for all of this by not being able to use as party-wide magic mitigation and level 70 ultimates. The following mitigation rundown is brought to you by Arm's Length is a mitigation tool in trash pulls. And I'm gonna keep saying that until it's beaten into your soul. A real Dark Knight will pull the whole fucking universe because they like to experience pain. If you die, even better. Someone pulled ahead of you, don't let them take that damage for you.
That's your gift. A precious gift from God.
Rampart is a $20 mitt, and Shadow Wall is a $30 mitt that lasts 5 seconds shorter. These cooldowns are not unique, just like how Reprisal can mitigate raid-wide damage. Don't worry, I've prepared a very long and detailed list of every single move in the game that can be mitigated by Dark Mind, so take a seat over there. Now that he's gone, why don't I mention that Oblation is a separate spammable mitigation from TBN that looks like upgraded TBN from the animation standpoint. Well, you can stack those together if you want to, although Oblation is a pretty flimsy cooldown all by itself. You can hold 2 charges though, which is something. I'll let you know when I figure out what that something is. Dark Missionary is not real and cannot help you versus Bahamut. But past level 72, it is real and can help with raid-wide mitigation. In trash pulls, you always want to stack a percentage mitigation cooldown with TBN.
No, seriously, Chair, though, what if you're not level 70 yet?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Have fun putting all of that into your spreadsheet mitigation plan and still dying in a trash pole that a warrior can just face roll through with raw intuition alone. If you want something more honest here, Dark Knight is not the most comfortable thing in dungeons. In fact, it kind of sucks. Where it really shines is in high-end raiding. Also, Living Dead is an invulnerability skill that you press, and if you take lethal damage in the next 10 seconds, you become unable to die for a new 10-second timer. On the plus side, this makes timing your invulnerability skill super easy and convenient. On the downside, you need to heal for 100% of your max HP in total before that timer expires, or you will die in real life. Thankfully, you get a massive self-regen during Living Dead, and if you get healed to full, you still can't die for that full 10-second timer. It would be really crazy and frustrating and stupid if you could heal Living Dead too fast and kill your Dark Knight. It only took, like 6 years for that change to finally be made? Thank God. Alright, let's talk AoE first. Yeah, I'm throwing a real curveball here, not following the same format that I've done for every single guide this expansion. You have 2 AoE filler buttons to start pressing from level 40.
It's so beautiful.
This will build up
Blood.
which you can spend 50 of on Quietus, although you should probably throw a flood of shadow at the trash to get your DPS buff up first that you forgot exists in the first place. Once you have that trash all rounded up because you pulled the entire dungeon wall to wall like a fucking champion, make sure that you have a TBN up plus a MIT and then press Delirium and Blood Weapon and spam Quietus to your heart's content while also setting up Assaulted Earth and then pressing it a second time because that's a thing that you have to do. Also, throw your Shadowbringers in there, and I guess Living Shadow is a cool button as well that you probably should have pressed instead of Quietus, you fucking idiot. I love mashing Flood of Shadow. The only thing you might want to hold on to for a little bit is Abyssal Drain, so that you can regen a pitiful amount of HP when you start losing health. Think Bloodwetting, but complete dog shit. You heal less per target on a button with twice the cooldown and only procs once compared to the 3 times of...
Oh, yes.
Just remember to spread your mitts like you spread your ass cheeks for maximum efficiency. Use TBN on cooldown in trash pulls, so don't waste all of your MP. And if you want to feel alive, you can use Living Dead in trash because you're going to regen the full off the regen in AoE. Huh, that's almost kind of useful. With dungeon content awkwardly out of the way, and it's the only thing that matters if you're a casual, let's talk about openers. Oh boy, everyone gather around, I'm gonna start rapping ability names again in a very useless fashion. Before anything, you probably want to know who is main tanking. It doesn't really matter these days as everyone can main tank. It only matters for you, because you want to try to break TBN in your opener. It's not guaranteed to happen, but we're going to put the effort in anyways, so you want to put it on whoever is going to main tank. Also, to keep you on your toes, I'm not going to pull with Unmend in this case, although if you want to, you can use it first and just delay the whole opener by a GCD here, if you're not comfortable with face pulling and using Provoke immediately. I will give you an order for the buttons here, but as long as you shove your most biggest moves in raid buffs, the order doesn't really matter that much. Also like Ninja, Dark Knight has the highest damage opener in the entire game, even more than any DPS, and I'm not actually lying to you on that one. Jesus Christ, this job hits so hard up front. Alright, pre-pull isn't actually real, but you are going to press Blood Weapon like a second before the pull, and TBN right as you pull the boss. If you are the main tank, make sure to weave a Provoke in as well, right before you hit your first GCD of Hard Slash. Double weave Edge of Shadow and Delirium. Then press Siphon Strike. If you want to dope up, this is a good place to do it. Then use Soul Eater. Double weave Living Shadow the Hedgehog and Salt and Pepper. And then press Hard Slash and weave Shadowbringer and Edge of Shadow. Press Blood Spiller and double weave Carven Spit and Edge of Shadow. Use another Blood Spiller and double weave Shadowbringer and Edge of Shadow. Finally, use a third Fell Cleave and double weave Salted Earth 2 and Plunge. Press Siphon Strike, and if you broke TBN, you'll never believe it. You get to weave another Edge of Shadow and another Plunge. That's it. That's an example for an opener. That's a whole lot of buttons to weave. Well, I hope your internet doesn't suck. Once again, the order doesn't really matter, unless it's Living Shadow, in which case you want to use it as soon as possible. We use TBN early though to not waste our mana regeneration, and also so that we can hopefully get the legendary 5th Edge of Shadow and Burst. I love weaving the same button 5 times. That's about the only thing that isn't something that you just press on cooldown. As for actual filler, just press your 1-2-3 combo forever. The second hit will give you mana back, and the third hit will give you 20 meter. Use Blood Spiller to ensure that you don't overcap on meter, and use Edge of Shadow to avoid overcapping on MP. How thrilling. As you get better, you can pool your resources into raid buffs, but that only comes up every 2 minutes. If you are a beginner, just worry about not overcapping and try to roll your GCD. The only little trick that people don't want you to know is that we use Blood Weapon slightly later than we did in the opener, around the 1 minute mark, and we try to time it to be about 2 GCDs after Delirium. This will better align the cooldown for the rest of the encounter. Simply use it on cooldown after that. Also, save both charges of Shadowbringer for 2-minute raid buffs, and try to save 2 plunges for raid buffs if you didn't need to use them for gap closers. Just make sure to use Delirium and Salted Earth on cooldown, and don't fuck up Living Shadow every 2 minutes because you need 50 blood for that, or else you'll drift it into fucking Mount Fuji.
That's it?
Yes, that's the whole job. No frills, no special sauce, no love, just raw buttons and pain. Enhanced on Mend is not a real trait, although your ranged filler and AoE fillers are spells and not weapon skills, so they're always going to be on a 2.5 second GCD, unless you decide that you're going to meld spell speed. But no! Don't do that. Bad. Despite the GCD being slower, your 2 filler AoEs are a fucking gate on 2, baby, let's go! But you still spend blood on Blood Spiller when you're fighting 2 targets. In the end, Dark Knight is a job in Final Fantasy XIV. Who could have seen that coming? A lot of people pick it up for the aesthetic because it's the edgy job, except Reaper is now the edgy job. Dark Knight is actually just Warrior with the Blackest Night and more weaving and burst. I won't share too much of my opinion here. I do like playing the job, but I kinda wish the DPS rotation, or at least the filler, was a little more exciting. I think it's better if only one tank has the boring rotation and not 2. Although it's slightly more stimulating for me to play than Warrior, but not stimulating enough to make my brain feel smooth and shiny. People will say that Dark Knight has been a shell of its former self since Stormblood, but that's where you're wrong. It's always been fucking miserable to play. So in that regard, I'd say the rework has kept the most important part of the job's identity. Now let's get out there and talk about how cool Berserk's aesthetic is.